You felt something. About 35 minutes ago, a small pull, a nudge you could not name. You were doing something ordinary, and for 1 second your chest went quiet. You told yourself it was nothing. You always tell yourself it was nothing. Chosen one. Sit with me for a moment, because there may be a reason this message reached you tonight and not last year. Consider this possibility. A letter was written about your life a long time ago. It was sealed. It was handed to a courier. And that courier has been traveling toward you through every year you thought nothing was happening. Not a courier with wings and trumpets. Heaven's messengers rarely arrive the way we picture them. Here is what I promise you before this message ends. You will understand 3 seals that must break before that letter can be read. You will understand why it took so long, and you will learn who the courier actually is. That last part will surprise you. But you have to walk with me to get there. Because first, you need to be seen. You have been holding something heavy, and almost nobody knows the real weight of it. You are the one people call when their world falls apart. You listen, you advise, you pray for them by name. And when you hang up the phone, the room goes silent, and there is nobody to call for you. You have learned to cry at strange hours, in the car before you turn off the engine, in the shower where the water covers the sound, on the edge of the bed at 2 in the morning so nobody wakes up. You have gotten frighteningly good at appearing fine. You have learned to say, "I'm okay," so smoothly that it sounds true. You have answered, "How are you?" 1,000 times with a word that costs you nothing and reveals nothing. You have celebrated other people's good news with a real smile and a quiet ache underneath. The engagement, the house, the new job, the baby. You meant every congratulation, and you also went home and sat in the car a little longer than you needed to. You have watched your own birthday come and go while you were still waiting for the same thing you were waiting for the year before. And the hardest part was never the problem itself. It was the silence around the prayer. You prayed the specific prayer. You prayed it with your whole body, and then you waited, and the days kept looking exactly the same. You watched other people receive what you asked for. You watched them get it easily, casually, almost carelessly. And a thought slipped in that you have never said out loud to another human being. Maybe I was overlooked, chosen one. Hear this gently. Being tired is not the same as losing faith. Your exhaustion is not a spiritual failure. It is the cost of carrying something for a very long time without setting it down. Heaven has not ignored your tears. Not one of them fell into nothing. But you deserve more than comfort tonight. You deserve an explanation. So let me ask the question this entire message will answer. If the letter was already written, why did it take so long to reach your hands? Picture a gate, not a small garden gate, a tall one, old iron, standing at the end of a long road. It has been shut for years, and you have stood in front of it, pressing your hands against the bars. You shook it, you shouted at it, you wept in front of it, and it did not move. That gate has been the center of your story, and you assumed it was locked against you. Here is another possibility. Perhaps it was not locked against you. Perhaps it was being held until the road on the other side was safe to walk. Think about it this way. Imagine a road being rebuilt after a flood. From the outside, nothing is happening. No workers visible, no noise, just a barrier and a long, boring wait. But underneath, the ground is being drained. The washed-out sections are being packed solid. The bridge that would have collapsed under weight is being reinforced, quietly, one layer at a time. Anyone standing at the barrier would swear they were being denied. They would call it unfair. They would say the road was closed against them personally. And then the day comes when the barrier lifts and they drive across a bridge that holds. They never see the work. They only feel the difference. Because there is something that happens when a person receives the right thing at the wrong time. It breaks them. Think about the doors you begged to enter 3 years ago. Think honestly about who you were then. There were rooms you fought to get into that would have quietly cost you your peace. There were people who felt like an answered prayer and later turned out to be your old wound with a new face. There were opportunities you cried over that would have arrived while you still could not say no, still could not set a limit, and still needed everyone's approval to breathe. You would have said yes to all of it, and it would have taken years to undo. So consider this. What looked like rejection may have been protection wearing an ugly mask. What felt like being forgotten may have been slow, careful, unglamorous preparation. And the silence, that awful silence, may have been the only room quiet enough for you to finally hear yourself think. The delay did not happen because you were unworthy. Perhaps it happened because something inside you was still being built, and construction is loud, dusty, and looks like nothing from the street. Now, the first seal. The first sign is not money, it is not a phone call, it is not somebody knocking on your door with news. The first seal breaks inside your chest, and it is so quiet that most people walk straight past it. Here it is. Something has stopped hurting the way it used to. Think about the last few weeks. The situation crossed your mind, and the panic did not rise the way it always did. You remembered the person, and your stomach did not drop. You said their name in your head, and it felt like a fact instead of an open wound. Or maybe this. You woke up one morning and realized you had not checked. You had not looked at their profile. You had not refreshed the message that never comes. You just got up and made coffee. And afterward you felt strange about it, almost guilty. You may have wondered if you were becoming cold, if your heart was hardening, if you had stopped caring about something you once cared about desperately. You were not becoming cold, you were becoming free. This is the strange mercy of a long season. Detachment arrives before the deliverance. Peace shows up before the proof. Heaven often loosens your grip before it fills your hands. Because a hand clenched in fear cannot receive anything. If you have noticed even the smallest drop in the fear you used to carry every day, take it seriously. Write it down somewhere. That is the first hinge of the gate turning. But one seal is not enough to open a letter, and the second one shows up outside of you in the world you can actually see. Before we get there, let me stop and say something you may need more than any revelation. I know how tired you are of being the responsible one. You are tired of being the one who apologizes first, even when you were wronged. Tired of holding a family together with your bare hands while everyone assumes you are naturally strong. Tired of being the person everyone leans on, standing on ground nobody ever checked. You have made peace with pain you should never have had to accept. You have called it normal. You have carried other people's chaos and called it love. And you are so tired that sometimes you do not even want the miracle anymore. You just want 1 week where nothing hurts. You are allowed to rest without giving up. Rest is not surrender, and a boundary is not cruelty. Asking someone for help does not cancel your faith. You have carried enough. Put some of it down right where you are sitting. It will still be there if you truly need it. And here is what I want you to hold on to. Nothing you survived went unwitnessed. Not the night you sat in the dark doing the math on money that did not add up. Not the words someone said to you that you have never repeated to anyone. Not the moment you forgave someone quietly and told nobody because you did not want them punished. You just wanted to be free. Heaven keeps a different set of records than the world does. The world records your titles. Heaven records your 3 in the morning, and your record is heavier with courage than you know. Now, the second seal. The second sign is movement you did not create. Something in your outside world begins to shift, and you cannot take credit for it. You did not push, you did not beg, you did not send the message a 4th time. It just moved. A conversation suddenly becomes honest after years of fog. Somebody's behavior finally clicks into a pattern you can name. A door that had not budged in a year moves half an inch on its hinges. A person you had given up on responds. A delay you had accepted as permanent starts to loosen. Sometimes it is smaller than that. A form that always came back rejected is accepted. A number finally works out. A name you needed reaches you through somebody who barely knows you. Sometimes it is a piece of information. You find out what was really said about you 2 years ago, and instead of destroying you, it explains everything. But hear this carefully because it matters. Sometimes the second seal looks like a loss. Someone steps back, a friendship goes quiet without explanation. A connection you tolerated for years falls apart with no dramatic ending. An arrangement you were afraid to end ends on its own. And you notice something odd about it. You expected devastation, and what came instead was space. Room to breathe in a house that used to feel crowded. That can hurt. It can also be an answer. Wearing very plain clothes. Because a new season cannot arrive while everything from the old season is still standing in the doorway. Some things do not leave your life because you are being punished. They leave because they were never going to fit through the gate. And here is where the first 2 seals connect, and it is important. The peace inside you is the only reason you can see the movement outside you. Without that peace, you would have panicked when it started falling away. You would have grabbed it. You would have apologized for things you did not do, just to hold it together. You would have rebuilt the exact thing that was being removed. The internal shift came first because it had to. That was not an accident. That was sequence. Which brings us to the question this whole message has been circling. If the letter is already traveling, why do so many people never receive it? Here is the truth at the center of this message. I want you to slow down and let it land. The courier is not a stranger arriving with dramatic news. The courier arrives as an ordinary moment you are tempted to dismiss. Let me be specific, because vague comfort helps nobody. The courier looks like a name that keeps surfacing in your mind for no reason. Someone you have not thought about in years, appearing 3 times in 1 week. The courier looks like an idea at 2 in the morning that feels too small to be important. A thought you almost did not write down. The courier looks like an invitation that is inconvenient. A door that opens sideways instead of straight ahead. An opportunity that comes with less money and more peace. The courier sometimes looks like a person who tells you a hard truth kindly and you go home irritated, and 3 days later you realize they were right. Heaven sends answers through plain doors on purpose. Because a plain door cannot be faked, cannot be stolen, and cannot be bought by anyone with more money than you. That is the hidden thing most people miss. Most people are not missing their breakthrough because it never came. They are missing it because it refused to arrive dressed the way they demanded. You have been standing at the window, scanning the sky for lightning. Meanwhile, the letter may already be in the house, folded inside something completely ordinary. Now, the harder question. If the courier has come to your door before, what turned it away? Not a curse. Not an enemy hiding in the dark, nothing that dramatic and nothing that frightening. Something much more human. There is a pattern in your life, and it has been quietly deciding things for you. I want to name 4, and you will recognize yours immediately. The first is proving. You believe love has to be earned through usefulness. So you make yourself indispensable. You overgive, over-explain, over-deliver. You show up for people who would never cross the street for you. And you are so exhausted that when real, easy, uncomplicated care finally shows up, you do not trust it. You have been trained to think love should feel like effort. The second is chasing. You keep returning to someone who avoids honesty, not because you are weak, but because uncertainty feels like hope. And you have learned to live on it. You have accepted crumbs and called it a meal. You have made a whole future out of one good week. And every time you go back, you lose a little more of your own voice. The third is bracing. You expect disappointment so faithfully that you defend against it in advance. You talk yourself out of good things before anyone can take them from you. You call it being realistic. It is really a shield you built during a war that ended years ago. And the fourth is shrinking. You make yourself smaller so that nobody feels threatened. You soften your opinion before you say it. You add sorry to sentences that do not need it. You do not ask for the raise. You do not name what you actually want. You accept the seat furthest from the table and tell yourself you never wanted to be seen anyway. But you did. You do. And pretending otherwise has cost you more than any rejection ever could. Now listen closely. None of these make you foolish, and every single one of them was once a survival skill. Every one of them protected a younger version of you who had no other options. Proving kept you safe in a house where love had conditions. Chasing kept a connection alive when losing it felt like dying. Bracing kept the disappointment from knocking you flat. Shrinking kept the peace in a room where your honesty was not welcome. The armor worked, but armor built for an old war becomes a cage in a new season. You do not need to hate the person who built it. You need to thank them and then set the metal down on the ground. Because you cannot open a letter with your fists closed, and you cannot walk through a gate wearing something too wide to fit. This is the release, not a dramatic ceremony, just a quiet, adult decision that the old rules do not govern the next chapter. Look at what this season actually produced in you, not what it took, what it built. You are someone who kept praying without a single piece of evidence. Do you understand how rare that is? Anyone can believe when the results are visible. You believed in an empty room. That is not weakness. That is a kind of strength most people never develop. You are someone who can now recognize a warning sign in the first week instead of the third year. That discernment cost you something real. It cost you a relationship or a job or years you cannot get back. But it is yours now. Nobody can take it and nobody can charge you for it again. You are someone who has learned that peace is not boring. Peace is expensive and you have already paid for it in full. Being chosen has never meant being better than other people, and it has never meant standing above anyone. It means your life carries purpose, your pain produced wisdom, and your next chapter is not required to copy your last one. That is the whole meaning. Nothing more grandiose than that, and nothing smaller. And before we go further, let me give you something to be grateful for that has nothing to do with what you are still waiting on. Be grateful for the person who checked on you once, at the exact right hour, and never knew what it saved. Be grateful for the door that closed and spared you a life you would still be trying to escape. Be grateful for the discernment you did not have at 20 and do have now. Be grateful that you are still here, that you did not become bitter though you had every reason and every invitation. This is not asking you to pretend it did not hurt. Gratitude that requires you to lie is not gratitude, it is performance. You are allowed to say both sentences in the same breath. That season wounded me, and it did not finish me. Hold them together, they both belong to you. Now, the third seal. It is the quietest of the three, and it is the one that cannot be mistaken. The third sign is this: you stop auditioning. There comes a day when you no longer need one specific person to confirm your worth. You stop rehearsing the conversation where they finally understand what they did to you. You stop waiting for the apology that would let you move on. You realize you can move on without it. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided who you are. You stop performing for a room that never once applauded. You become willing to walk forward without applause. And something else happens with it. You start telling the truth faster. When something is wrong, you say so, not with anger, just plainly. That does not work for me. 5 words that would have terrified you 2 years ago. Chosen one. That is the signature on the letter. Look at how the whole thing connects now. The original pain taught you exactly what you can survive. The delay held the gate while the road was made safe. The peace inside you loosened your grip. The movement outside you cleared away what could not travel with you. And now the courier can finally place something in your hands because your hands are finally open. Nothing was wasted, not the waiting, not the crying, not the years that looked empty. Let me be honest with you now, because you have been promised too much by too many voices. I am not going to tell you money arrives by Friday. I am not going to tell you a particular person is coming back. I am not going to name a number of hours. Anyone who does that is guessing, and you deserve better than a guess. Here is what this genuinely means. The old season is losing its authority over your decisions. That is real, and it is already happening. The reason behind the delay is becoming visible to you. That is a form of freedom most people never get. The weight you were never meant to carry has now been named out loud. Named things lose power. You are becoming ready, not just hopeful. There is an enormous difference between those two words, and one clear step is now available to you, which is more than you had this morning. Hope is replacing fear without pretending the pain was fine. Both things can be true at the same time. That season hurt you, and it did not destroy you. You are allowed to hold both without choosing one. A letter left unopened changes nothing. So here is your part, and it is small enough to actually do. First, tonight, write down one sentence. The one pattern you refuse to carry into this chapter. Proving, chasing, bracing, shrinking. Whichever one you recognized. Write it and keep it somewhere you will see it in the morning. Because clarity fades much faster than pain does. Second, take one practical step toward the door that is already slightly open. Send the message, submit the application, book the appointment. Ask the question you have been circling for months. Make the call you have rehearsed 40 times and never made. Say the honest sentence you have been swallowing for a year. If money is the pressure, write the real numbers down on paper tonight. Not to punish yourself, just to stop guessing in the dark. Fear grows in vagueness. If it is a relationship, stop asking for clarity from someone who benefits from your confusion. Watch what they do for 1 month and believe that instead. It does not have to be brave. It only has to be real. A small step taken in faith is still a step, and heaven is never despised small. Third, sit quietly for 10 minutes before you sleep. Do not ask for anything. Do not negotiate. Just be still and listen. The courier speaks softly, and you have been living inside noise for years. If all three feel like too much, choose one. One faithful step still counts. And as a personal reminder, not as a condition for receiving anything, and not because heaven needs your words to move. Write this in the comments if it is true for you. My waiting season is ending. There is no magic in typing it, but there is something real about a person finally saying hope out loud after years of only whispering fear. So, let your shoulders drop. You were not overlooked. You were not skipped. You are living in the part of the story where the work happens underground, where nothing shows and nobody claps. The seed does not get applause. It just keeps splitting open in the dark. And the gate is not locked. It is unlatched, and it is moving, and you are allowed to walk toward it slowly. Let me show you something before I let you go. Picture an ordinary Tuesday, a year from now. Nothing dramatic about it, no music playing. You are standing in your kitchen in the late afternoon light doing something forgettable, and you notice that your chest is quiet. The thing that used to wake you at 3 in the morning does not live in your body anymore. The name that used to make your hands shake is just a name. You are not checking anything. You are not waiting for anyone to decide about you. You have a boundary that holds, and you have people around you who ask how you are and wait for the real answer. You are not rich in the way you once imagined. You are steady, and steady turned out to be the thing you were actually praying for. And you remember this night. You remember sitting there, tired, listening to a voice tell you that the gate was moving. You did not believe it completely. You took one step anyway. That step is why you are standing in that kitchen. You do not have to sprint. You do not have to solve everything before you sleep tonight. Grace is not a wage you earn by being impressive. It is a gift you are permitted to receive while you are still tired, still uncertain, still figuring it out. Divine love has never depended on your performance. Not on your comment, not on your like, not on how many minutes of this message you stayed for. You were loved on your worst day. You were loved in the hour nobody knew what you were carrying. You were loved before you got anything right. Nothing in this world can charge you for that. If messages like this one help you find courage, clarity, and steadiness in hard seasons, you are welcome to subscribe and keep walking with us. This is a place for people who are healing, rebuilding, waiting well, learning boundaries, and choosing hope again after it cost them something. You are invited here. You are never trapped here. There is one more thing about the Courier, and then I will let you go. You have been imagining someone arriving from far away with something you do not have. But consider this instead. The Courier is carrying something that was always yours, held in safekeeping, waiting until it could be handed to someone strong enough to hold it without breaking. That someone is who you became while you waited. The letter was never delayed because heaven forgot your name. It was waiting for hands that were finally free. Chosen one, yours are opening now. Go gently through the rest of today. Guard the small flame, take the one step, and let the seal break.